One of the things that I've seen in the nonprofits that I've worked with is when people come back and they're sharing their information, so they're putting photos on Facebook or they're blogging, they don't realize some of the sensitivities, the cultural sensitivities. So, for instance, being in Jordan and taking a photograph of a woman with her head covered and then broadcasting that without her permission is just not good. It's not ethical. It's not proper etiquette. So I think understanding cultural sensitivities. And then one of the things, I think that's really important is there's a tendency to say, we were in a village today, or we spoke with a Peruvian woman, without actually getting the names and the ages and getting more of the story of the actual people of the places that we're serving. So I feel like, whether it's a donor or an employee or a corporate partner that's on a field visit or in the field, making sure they get as much personal information and personalize and humanize the people that we're actually there working with, versus saying, here's Haitian children. Let's get their names and their ages and understand what's the name of the town that we're in. Strategically, no. I mean, our digital goals and our interactive goals mirror our company goals, our organizational goals. So it's all about, creating new donors and supporters and then engaging the ones we have and cultivating them just like you would any donor. Certainly, though, we have to be cognizant of the segment and we need to understand the technology and the tools, and things obviously move quicker and are a little more condensed, so we need to be more nimble in these channels. But in terms of the strategy and how we really approach it, the goals are the same, the objectives are the same. We're revamping a couple of different policies. So there's sort of our formal, external, how we communicate in the social space as UNICEF USA. But then there's also how employees and supporters engage in the social space. So we have employees and donors and board members and so forth who now want to blog or tweet about us. And so we're also creating sort of more standards and guidelines and best practices versus sort of, a mandate on how to interact for maximum impact, I think. It's a challenge, and I think certainly I don't think it's any more a challenge at UNICEF or the U.S. Fund for UNICEF as it is for other nonprofits that I've worked with. I feel like no matter where you go, there's unique sensitivities. I was at another organization and there were diplomatic sensitivities. There were medical. It was a medical charity, so there was a lot of medical things that needed to be vetted out before we could just post something. So I feel like while that is true, I think it's true across nonprofits. We have to really think before we tweet. We have to think fast, obviously, faster than maybe somebody in direct mail does. But I think the sensitivities are universal for the nonprofit sector. I say keep it simple and authentic. So I feel like I'm hoping people are starting to get away from, I need to be everywhere. I feel like you need to just be in one or two really solid places. Obviously, Facebook and Twitter are the most highly trafficked right now. Really focus your time and energy there, and then also identify what resources you have. People don't realize that they have passionate supporters that may be really, really knowledgeable at social media. So identify people that are already at your disposal. I don't know one nonprofit that doesn't have people raising their hand saying, I want to do more, I want to do more. So you may have more resources than you think. And so that's, I think, the biggest thing is you really be creative with who you have messaging for you. And the fear I know is that if I have a volunteer doing it, then it might be off-brand. If you set those guidelines, like I was talking about before, if you set guidelines in place and you're following the objectives of the organization, then you can have a volunteer or a board member or somebody like that kind of helming your social.